Alright, long story short, I didn't want to bore everybody with the cutting and gluing of everything. Everything is cut at 15 degrees to make 12 segmented pieces for a ring, per ring. All walnut, and then the band is maple. I was asked to make a duck call urn, and it'll top out about 18 3/8 tall, so it's going to be a big one. I'm going to leave this open, and I'm going to be applying some threaded inserts on this so it'll thread on and keep it locked shut. But I'll get some video going and show you guys. Alright, now that this is not shaking like crazy and I got it all even and rounded off, I'm going to come in and size up this 4-inch threaded insert into this, and then we'll come in on the top and do that same thing for the male. Get that all fitted and keep going. Since this isn't that even, we're going to be taking this only at about 300 RPM, starting off pretty slow with the square carbide. And hopefully we can get that sized up, a nice tight fit, epoxy it in, and then start on the top. Alright, I was running into an issue where my chuck was not, it was basically throwing the piece off centered, and I couldn't get it true center, and I couldn't get the hole bored out enough and true to fit this. So I ended up redoing my mount on my lathe and have it screwed on and way more secure. So I should be able to even though it's not running true right now, I'm able to get that hole centered, and I'll be able to finish boring out the inside no problem. And then same with the outside, I'll be able to get that true again. And we should be golden now for finishing the bottom half, and then we can move on to the top half. All right, I only got like a 64th left to open this up, so it's a snug fit. I'm gonna get this rest of this inside bored out after I get this pre-fitted, and then we'll redo this outside, and then we'll get this epoxied on, and then get onto the top, and I'll get this all fast forward and show you guys when I'm done. All right, we got the threaded insert fitted. I was gonna take these little knobs off, didn't think about it. It'll be fine, epoxy will fill it. So that is fitted. I'm not gonna bore you guys with me boring that out, no pun intended. I'm gonna get this, finish getting this bored out. I'm gonna true this outside up, and then we'll get moving on to the top, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Well, I wasn't going to show you guys this final pass on the bottom part. I was just going to get it done, show you guys, and then probably show you the full fast forward version of the top. But I figured why not show you some ribbon action on the final pass before sanding. I won't bore you guys with that. So I'll show you a little bit of this. All right, I'll show you guys the whole turning of this top lid. I'm done with the bottom. I guess I can show you guys that real quick. Still need the solid sand, but I think that looks pretty sweet. Just ran into a few hiccups, but it actually turned out really good. So that'll need a solid sanding, and then we'll get a finish on that. We're gonna get this male threaded insert fitted first, test it on here, see how it looks, and then we're just gonna crank this out, and I'll fast forward right through all of that and show you guys that, and we'll keep going. Turning the top. It's walnut. Yeah, the lathe. See? Woo! You say hi to the camera? Say hi, everybody. Or say hello. All right, it is the next day and we got everything basically connected, the threaded inserts on both the top and the bottom. And then we started sanding the inside of the top, and we're going to sand the outside, get it up to about 400 grit. And I'll show you a little bit of that process, and then we'll get a finish on it. All right, I'll just show you a little bit of what I use for getting a pretty decent finish. I'm not putting tung oil on, so usually that requires a higher grit finish, and just making sure you had nice clean cuts before you started sanding. I'd say mine are pretty good. I probably could have put a little more detail into it in time. But this is what I start off with. Work my way up from 120 to 150, 220, 320 to 400. I have some 3M pads that I use. This is like a medium, and it helps get a lot of the dust off in between sanding. And then I finish up with a fine. And then usually in between using just basic sandpaper, I have different disc pads, and that actually helps with eliminating the sanding marks if you're just going in one direction. So that seems to help me personally. And yeah, just get this sanded and keep going. This is an example I'm talking about. So this, you don't see any sanding marks going with the rotation of the lathe. Obviously it's spinning. You don't see any sanding marks, and right here you can see that obviously, but I cannot get my sanding disc in there to sand that portion. So a lot of the times I'll just go in there with sandpaper and try to sand in the opposite direction. It's obviously a little harder in these grooves, but all in all, it's on the bottom. It's not going to get seen. And plus, I probably should have just done a better pass, so that's all on me in reality. So it's looking pretty good for only 120 grit. You got some really nice figure. Looking pretty sweet. All right. that's up to 400. You can still see some of the marks, but again, I'm going to come down here. I'll show you guys this. This is a pretty cool technique on routering out the base in order to let it sit level, and then it gives you a nice flat spot to put your logo, which looks pretty good. So that's up to 400 grit, and it is looking really good. So I like to put sanding sealer on this just to lock the wood in. Lock the wood in, that doesn't make any sense. Basically seal it before putting on any lacquer or tung oil, so that first coat dries a lot quicker. I've just, my personal experience, it seems to help. And then you just go from there. And if you're doing tung oil, well, honestly, you don't really have to. It just takes longer to seal that first coat. It's somewhere around like 12 plus hours. So, but this one I was given like 4 or 5 days to make. I was on a time crunch, so we're gonna put sanding sealer on this. Let everything sit for probably an hour, then come back in, sand again at 400. Probably do 300, then 400, just a light sand. And it'll be ready for lacquer. I'm gonna apply some lacquer. I don't know if I'm gonna spray it or put it on with just a cloth. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. Alright, it's sanding sealer is on. So just gonna give this a minute to dry a little bit. I'm gonna take it off and then throw on the bottom, and we'll have that done. Alright, let's go to sanding sealer. And stuff dries pretty quick. I don't have the can because the can would not stay sealed, and put it in a mason jar. Anyways, yeah, that's looking great. So we're gonna give that about a half hour to an hour. And like I said, I'm gonna give it a good sand, probably 300, 400 grit, and then get some lacquer on there. Sweet. Alright, I obviously didn't record, but I got the bottom taken care of with a little jig I made. Of course, now I can't find it. Here it is. So, a couple pieces of tape on both sides, and then some CA glue, and you adhere it, and take a router bit, and you route it out, and it creates this as more of a balanced surface. I ended up having to use screws on this one because it was so heavy, so I'm gonna get that actually epoxied in at the end if everything's clear coated. I'll show you right now. I'll throw on my logo, and then we'll go out and clear coat this.
Dad.
Yeah.
Dad. See? Look.
Ooh.
Look it.
Did you say hi? Say hi, camera.
Use your words.
Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.